Yeah, we no longer have to do that. And we are live. No longer have to do the 3 clap to match with the audio.
Let's go.
It's kind of nice. What up, everybody? What up, Bengals Nation? We're here. We got one viewer in the house.
Nice, probably me.
Starting.
Shout out Colton. Woo!
Just kidding.
Let's go. We're
Oh,
getting
man.
it started. High energy tonight. What do we start with? Our combine experience?
Yeah, combine.
Boring as hell.
Yeah.
Should ride headphones.
If you go to the combine, take headphones.
Still don't tell you the 40 times.
You can take your kids. That's probably something better for kids.
Yeah, like the outside experience was really cool. I mean, we obviously got there like to watch the combine, but if you do have like younger kids, like the 40 was cool looking. You know, had the O-line drills, all the helmets, a lot of like just cool experience. Even if you don't want to go watch the players, it was just cool to see that they were really engaging to the younger fans too.
Speaking of helmets, we got ours hung up today
Finally,
with the Joe Mixon signed jersey. A little worried that he's leaving. We'll get into that in a little bit. Back to the combine. Shout out to Haley Jump, Colton's fiance.
Woo!
She
Yeah.
commented on the YouTube.
Let's go.
We got a supporter in the house. Yep. But the combine, I mean, I don't know if my expectations were higher than what I was.
Yeah, I guess when you're like watching the combine, you don't realize like you can't sit in the lower bowl unless you have seats.
I think that
I think our problem was we got there a little too late.
Well, no, they said that those seats were all like you had to have a ticket. So I guess like general admission is the upper side.
It's probably a lot of media.
I mean, it's a little.
Yeah,
on us
I don't
too
know how it
for not,
works.
like for not doing the research.
This was our first year doing it, so if anyone knows how to do it, comment so we can maybe get some better access next year. Because I mean, I'm still on the fence about going back next year.
Oh, I'm not going.
Okay.
For some reason, a top pick.
Or if we could maybe like apply for like a media pass or something. Like I don't know how that works.
I don't know. That's up to them. We
gotta
gotta
get a
we gotta
website.
get more
Oh.
support.
Yeah, but just I think it would be a lot better experience if we were down lower because it seemed like they all could like hear it a little better. I know you have the headphones too, but even being that high up, like
I kind of brought it up on my phone
Right.
and just tuned in a little bit because they didn't put the 40 times up on the big board.
Yeah.
They didn't put anything up there, which I thought they would. I understand you got to be quiet and all that, but they only put the second run up there, and I had some bets.
It also seemed like it just took a lot. Like, it didn't, like obviously when you're on your phone and just like looking at the combine stuff, it doesn't seem like it takes as long between like the groups and stuff. Like between groups, it would be. I thought like they start another group doing the 40 while the others are doing on the field stuff, and then not like Brock Bowers and like a lot of the big guys that you want to see like didn't participate and stuff like that. Like obviously Caleb Williams didn't and Drake May, but then Brock Bowers this day of or the day before decided not to participate after like his measurements or whatever.
yeah, a lot of guys showed out though. I mean, there was a lot of like talent, like guys who obviously you would think produced on the field that showed out in numbers wise too. A lot of fast 40 times.
Yeah,
A lot of like
Xavier
bench press
Worthy.
reps. I mean, a lot of deep balls that I was like, okay, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of a cool experience as far as like our first time being there, but definitely something that we need to do a little more prep for as far as getting lower seats and just the experience overall. I feel like
we had the perfect hotel. We were
yeah,
at the Holiday Inn right next to Lucas Oil, so it was a fun walk there. Then we could walk downtown to where'd we go to eat? Yard House.
Yard
Went down
House,
to
which
Yard
is
House.
really
That place
good.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend there. Which I heard we have a Cincinnati chain.
yeah, we do.
Yeah,
It's
right on the banks. Yeah.
Okay, well I don't go to the banks that often, so
You might know.
I might have to start going.
Yeah.
I've only been down the fishbowl, so
Fishbowl. But the quarterbacks like JJ McCarthy was kind of missing a lot of his hits, but somehow still rose. Like
it's because Jaden Daniels didn't throw, Drake May didn't
Yeah.
throw. Typically when quarterbacks don't throw,
it leaves out early.
it kind of pushes them down a little bit. Which to me, Jaden Daniels and Drake May should have thrown.
Mhm.
I think Drake May out of like the top 3 of like Williams.
Didn't Baker
Daniels.
Mayfield throw at his?
I'm not sure, but
Like Josh Allen threw, Baker Mayfield, Lamar, all a couple of those bigger quarterback names. They throw
I would have just liked to have seen Drake May's deep ball.
100%. I think I understood Caleb not throwing. You're probably solidified as number 1 pick,
Yeah.
football talent wise. But now, these past couple of weeks, people have been really questioning Drake May's football talent.
Yeah.
So that would have been the time for me to
Joe Milton showed his arm. I didn't know.
Joe.
I didn't know he had
that
arm in
little
him.
Dude.
Joe Milton
He's
with
like-
that little pause.
And then he like popped. Like after he knew that throw was hitting the can, he's like,
that was
sick video.
that was sick. Not gonna lie, that
He might have rose up. Some
Big Cat
bars
from
himself.
Barstool said he should be the #1 pick now.
Chicago, the Bears.
Pick 1 overall one.
Him and Justin just battle it out. Don't even
Shout
care.
out worthy.
Xavier
John Ross. We don't have to hear about the John Ross as Bengals fans anymore.
Right?
Seen that clip every year. At least.
It was cool because we were watching it. We left at that point.
After the running
We'd have
backs.
already left.
Wait,
Just because it was getting later in the day, we had other plans. But
oh yeah, we watched that at Yard House.
yeah, we watched that
all
Yard
just
House.
broke it.
It said 4-2-2, and we're like, "Holy shit!" He tied John Ross.
And then it was like later in that.
A little later, 4-2-1. We're like, "Oh shit, he broke it," which is even better than tying.
Yeah.
Because now we don't have to hear about that pick.
I wonder if they just how they like looked at the official time, like to break it.
They can slow it down and see.
Because I know they showed the clip of like the John Ross and him. Like, do they see that? Probably not.
I mean, if you they did that like side by side.
That's what I was saying.
Whatever it was, and you can see he was clearly a step ahead.
Yeah.
Like that's how I didn't know if they determined it that like official like.
Yeah,
Because you have people to stop watch it.
Just go back and watch it to see when he actually crosses the line. Unofficial is just when they cross it, somebody stops the timer.
Yeah, shout out Roman Dunze for ruining my 3-legged parlay. I needed him to run a sub 4-4, which is my fault, I guess. I thought he could.
You gotta do more studying on that.
I thought he could. That's what his line was at.
Hey, but shout out to Rattler for not running as fast as
No, I still got there was a flex play on Prize Pick, so I still got money off that because Rattler ran under a 4.77, or he ran higher than a 4.77. And who was my other one?
You had two receivers and a quarterback.
Yeah, 2 receivers. Who was it? Ran in the first group.
Oh, Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey. Yeah. I had him under a 4.51, which he crushed. He ran a 4.33.
Yeah.
4.39.
Was it a 4.39?
Yeah, it was something similar to like closer to 4.4, but he still was well under 4.51.
Yeah, so I mean, really happy about that one. Which Ladd is a guy I'm kind of looking at for the Bengals in the second round if he's
I think he's
available. He might have moved up
His
on
draft
boards.
stock, I think went up, but
I mean, he had a really good. I was really impressed with Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, I think, ran the second slowest.
He's a big dude.
Huge, but if you watch his like flow and like consistently running, like on the pass catching drills and all that, he looks smooth, super smooth. He's a natural ball.
Game speed is just it's different.
I'm a big fan of Keon Coleman. If we were to trade T. Higgins and like draft the receiver, it's like Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, Ladd. Like those are kind of like my 3 guys that I like that are options to
realistic.
us.
Yeah, I was gonna say realistic.
Options to us. Maybe Mitchell.
Yeah,
you know,
he wouldn't be
if
bad.
we go,
somebody's gonna reach on him.
depending on what we do in free agency.
Maybe not reach.
He ran like a 4.35.
Yeah,
he's pretty quick.
Because Ravens
surprisingly
fans on
quick,
Twitter
actually.
were blowing up. They want Mitchell.
Yeah,
Him and Zay Flowers,
understandable. I mean, you get a receiver like Mitchell next to Zay Flowers, and you kind of become a lot bigger of a threat than you are with Nelson Aguilar and Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
which Aguilar balled out this year too. But I'm just saying
that's why they went ahead and got him locked up. Not really locked up, but another year deal.
I think Blake Corum ran slower than they thought he would run.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
He's big. He's big.
Seeing him in person.
He did like the same amount of reps as Joe Alt on the bench.
He's also very quick, like shifty. Like watching him do the drills. Like
I was thoroughly impressed with him. Yeah. Which I mean, if we were to cut Mixon, which I don't want to, I'd be fine drafting Blake Corum.
Yeah, after watching his like whole pro day and like catching passes and the the agility drills and stuff, he definitely surprised me as far as his shiftiness. I knew he was really good at like making cuts. Obviously, watching him at Michigan, but definitely like seeing it firsthand in person, like he's fast. Like he's very quick at making the cut and jumping the hole and stuff. So
yeah,
I would definitely be okay with it. Obviously, if we had to go that route.
If you guys are watching right now, not tag, but put in the comments who do you guys want at pick 18. Whether it's Fuaga, Guyton, right tackles out there, Mims, receivers, tight ends, put whoever the hell you want. We're curious to see other people's answers. Obviously I think we're more leaning towards free agency or more excited for free agency than we are the draft.
Yeah, just because it comes first and it kind of opens you up.
Once you kind of like get into that bottom 15 pick, you're sitting there like, okay, well, what can we do in free agency? And then try to get BPA in the draft so you don't have to worry about anything else. So that's one of my things about it. A couple of players I wanted were tagged, like Matabuke.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any way we were going to get Matabuke.
Probably not. He was I
think he was always going to be tagged.
Yeah, which Really sucks.
I mean, you can't if you're the Ravens, you can't let go of him after that season, and you got to try to
No,
lock him
13
up.
sacks from an interior guy is kind of crazy.
And he's just a freakishly athletic guy. Like,
Yeah,
and he's still young.
he
Like,
reminds me a lot of watching him. He just reminds me a lot of Geno Atkins. Really,
yeah,
just
bull rush. Like,
I wouldn't say surprisingly quick, but
I mean,
the speed's there.
You can say it. I mean, he's
The
definitely
speed's there.
Like, he gets off the ball very fast.
Yeah,
Like, as soon as it's snapped, he's beating the center.
like if I'm probably a lot of like football fans. I don't know how much they watch the Geno Atkins, but we watched a lot of Geno Atkins.
Yeah.
And that guy, I mean, put him in today's NFL in his prime, he's comparable to Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like,
absolutely.
Chris Jones. He's that.
I would say that's a good comp. Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because Donald's just like a freak as far as like athleticism,
Yeah.
but Geno and Chris Jones, I think that's a perfect combo.
Yeah. Obviously, right now, I'd probably Big E 237. I don't know if that might be Ethan. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
He said
Brock Bowers at pick 18. Not a bad one. I like Brock Bowers.
If he's there, absolutely. Especially if we bring in some tackles.
Especially in free agency, we make some big moves in free agency. I would really love Brock Bowers is a perfect. I wouldn't say a perfect prospect because he come in on the shorter sides, but
yeah. I mean, he wasn't Gronk, obviously.
No,
but he was
I
definitely.
picture him standing next to Gronk. Yeah.
But I mean, he's not small enough to where he's gonna be like a liability though. Like he's still gonna be. I think he was like 6'2" or 6'3".
It seems like right after he figured out his measurements and people were like on Twitter kind of dogging him like a little bit. Not really dogging, but it's like he decided not to participate. So it kind of like worried people. But
I mean, I get it. Like what? Like if you're not going to benefit yourself either, like if he goes out and shows out, oh, he was supposed to do that. But if he goes out and has a bad day, like
so that's my thing with the quarterbacks. That's why I understand Caleb Williams didn't throw.
Yeah.
Because you're already number one.
Yeah, he's probably
so why throw? Because if you go out and you do have a bad day, then there's conversations. But like Drake May and Jay Daniels, those conversations are already happening.
Mm-hmm.
I would go out there and try to shut them up. But then again, you could hurt yourself even more.
Yeah.
By doing it. But I'd just rather take the risk if I'm confident in myself. Because I think as an athlete, you have to be, especially on the professional level, your biggest supporter, your biggest fan has to be yourself.
Yeah. You think pro days will kind of eventually take the spot of the combine? Like
I think it should.
Combine's always going to be there because it's the NFL.
My biggest issue with the combine is quarterbacks are throwing against the air, and
some one-on-ones going like we
and receivers. You're not seeing them
make really moves and stuff.
Make
They're
moves.
like running.
Pro days are nice because they're in their building, so they feel more comfortable. They're throwing to their teammates, and it's guys that like it's just like familiarity is like key for them. I think that at the combine, like obviously you're throwing to guys who you've never thrown to, which when you go to the NFL, that's there too.
The combine's more of a PR thing
Yeah.
for players
Yeah.
than it is really just getting their numbers
and like their testing, like their size, their weight, and everything.
Yeah.
But, I mean they do that at their pro days too, but it's kind of like
For a lot of people, like Nate Wiggins got hurt, Mims got hurt.
I hate that does scare me seeing him get hurt there. It's like because he was hurt.
Well, that's another thing with the combine,
Like,
combine pro days.
pro day.
Anything you're doing football outside of a game is a risk to your health.
For sure.
Well, just Mims was hurt a lot. Like,
that Broncos left guard a few years ago tore his ACL in training, but he was training outside of the Broncos facility. So they're like, we're not going to pay your contract, which I think he did a lawsuit, and I don't know if he won or lost, but
that doesn't surprise me with the Broncos.
that $86 million dead cap space, they're about to have that dead money.
All their picks that are just gone.
Yeah.
That's wild. Russell Wilson.
Big E 237 said, do you bring back Hayden Hurst? I would love to. 100% would love to.
Him and Uzomah.
I am concerned on the personal side, knowing him, being a fan of his, I am worried about him in his head. Hopefully that's not like a permanent thing. And I haven't heard anything about it recently.
Oh, I saw something. He said that he's feeling healthier than ever.
Bring him back.
I think it's just proven that Burrow gets those tight ends paid. Like Uzomah got a bag, not a bag, but a bag kind of for him.
$8 million.
Yeah. And then Hayden got paid. And then they just both went to, Hayden did good in the beginning of the season until he got hurt. And then neither of them really did anything.
I mean,
both those teams.
Uzomah, though, like Rodgers got hurt, and then it was
then they signed like 3 or 4 tight ends in the same offseason.
Uzomah's problem is that he said that Zach Wilson was the hardest worker he's been around. You just went to the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow coming off an ACL tear. So,
but to be fair, like you're going to that new team, you want to hype him up, but at the same time, you don't want to like
hype him up. Don't make ignorant comments like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get where he's coming from, though, as far as like he's just trying to get the new guy in the building. He's just trying to hype him up. He could have said it a little better, like
Could have said it differently for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. But I don't really look at that as like a dig at Burrow. I think he was just more hyping up Zach.
Which I mean, I'm a big Zach Wilson fan.
I think he could go somewhere and play. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how like if he's going to be like what he was coming out of BYU as. I mean, when you see his tape at BYU, you're like, oh god.
like I honestly that Jets team was doomed from the start. Just
They were old and they were not. They weren't really built for an injury.
well, like, well, let's bring in all of Aaron Rodgers and all of his friends, and then not put an offensive line around him.
Yeah.
Let's
4 plays, man. That's
I think he comes back and has a good year though.
and realistically, I wouldn't even really say, that was just bad luck. Kind of like Burrow's ACL tear. That was just bad luck on that rep.
I mean, that's just football though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of luck.
we haven't even heard an injury update on Rodgers in a bit though.
He was cleared to practice, so
Oh.
I
He was
mean,
practicing during the season.
yeah, he's
Oh,
gonna.
yeah,
Yeah,
duh.
he's
I
He was
forgot.
throwing-
Yeah, because they were like, if we somehow make the playoffs,
because he made the roster again. Remember they had to release somebody down to the.
Off like
And
this.
he was like upset about it because
They did that for they did that for some weird thing that they explained on the Pat McAfee show.
It was just so he could be with the team practicing.
Yeah, which is just crazy. It's like J.K. Dobbins. They posted videos of him. He had the same surgery,
Yeah,
and he's getting there.
yeah. I mean, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Speaking of Kirk Cousins, where's he going to go? Where's he going to play?
A lot
How's
of-
that going to pan out?
a lot of talks about Falcons for him.
I think. I mean, you obviously got Fields, Russell Wilson, Baker, and Kirk. Like, I think wherever those guys go, because they're going to go somewhere before the draft, really kind of shows where those other top 3 draft quarterbacks are going to go.
Fields will probably be within the next like week and a half.
Everybody that's watching, chop where Kirk Cousins is going to go.
Because I mean, you think Russell goes to like Pittsburgh?
He can sign for vet minimum. He said he would.
He would.
But
yeah.
they want to stick with Pickett though. But I guess if you can upgrade,
That's a
like,
smokescreen.
You think so?
That's a smokescreen.
Yeah, I think any team.
I don't think they're ready to give up on Pickett. Is my thing.
Well, you
Johnny Manziel put up better numbers than Kenny Pickett, so
did Manziel say he might once he gets fully out of rehab, he might try to make a return or something like that?
he should hang it up. Just I love Manziel. I was a big
I don't know if
Manziel
that's
fan,
true. I
but
just thought I saw that somewhere.
probably not true.
Imagine Johnny coming back, dude.
That would be kind of crazy though. Just for Johnny to return.
I mean, this is honestly. I mean, we think we probably say this every year, but this free agency is huge. Like, there's so many big names,
Go big or go home.
guys who are like on the verge of maybe hitting the wall, maybe not. Like,
If I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm going to the Falcons.
100%.
And then if I'm the Falcons,
you draft a
you
guy in
draft.
the later rounds. Yeah.
No, not in the later rounds.
You already have a lot of talent. I mean, like that team.
You have a lot of young
That's what I'm
talent.
saying. That
Kurt
team is built, like-
30,
He's older, yeah.
36, 35, 36. You draft a quarterback. What do they have? The 8th pick? 7th or
I
8th?
think if you bring Kirk in, you don't still draft a quarterback.
Yeah, no, you go quarterback first.
You think so?
With
Let him sit a year.
let them sit 1 or
I
2
think-
years.
I think a Drake May would be perfect for that. Like letting him
They'd
sit
have,
here.
but that's the thing. You'd have to draft. You'd have to trade up to get Drake May. But like, I think if you could get JJ McCarthy and sit him, he's 20. He's 20. I think he's 20. JJ McCarthy is. He's 20 or 22 or something like that.
I'll look it up real quick.
I forget how. He's young. You have him sit for a little bit behind Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a great guy. I'm sure he'd
He's
mentor.
21.
He's
He just
21,
turned
so he's
21.
young.
He turned 21 in January.
Yeah, they got the 8th pick. Falcons do.
So I mean, is Jaden Daniels falls?
I think
I wouldn't even
that'd be a
say
good
that's
fit.
falls. That'd be a great fit.
I think he'd fit well there.
You bring back Kyle Pitts, re-sign him. Don't give him,
Is he
Arthur
is
Smith,
he a
I
free
think-
agent this year?
no.
They got us one more year.
Yeah, he was
was
drafted
for-
in Chase's,
Or
Year.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
bad.
so and he's also still has a 5th-year option,
No,
so they could exercise that if
Murray
they
got
wanted to.
exercise. Micah got his exercise by the Cowboys.
If I was the Falcons, I would exercise it just because he hasn't really had a fair shot.
I mean, 1,000-yard rookie year.
Yeah,
And
I'm just saying touchdown wise, his touchdowns are very
they're
miscued.
Low. They're low.
freak
Yeah,
athlete.
Like that stat you sent to us.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to dog him, which again, coming out
He
of
just
college,
wasn't
when you're
used
when
right.
you're the 5th pick as a tight end, you're
Bro.
gonna get some scrutiny.
Arthur
when you're
Smith.
not-
Fourth
would
pick.
rather-
Yeah,
he was.
Jamar was the 5th pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I mean,
Arthur Smith would just rather use Jonnu Smith instead of
Yeah,
Pitts.
Cal Pitts, you're gonna
Gonna
block. So Jonnu Smith can get faked, run a fake route, and then the 3rd string tight end is gonna catch a touchdown. That's Arthur Smith. I can't wait to play the Steelers honestly.
Well,
At this,
you
at
know
this
they're going to
rate.
go for like 500 yards. That's with Arthur Smith, man.
I don't know. I think Arthur Smith's a horrible coach.
That's why I don't want to
So-
see Fields go there, which I don't think they will trade for him. But I don't know. The Bears aren't really getting the packages. I saw on Twitter that they were expecting to
I
get.
saw Schefter was like his comp would be like
Probably like
a second and a fourth,
That's
or like a
Or another good thing that I guess if
that's good. Though.
if the Falcons wanted to sign Kirk Cousins 1 or 2 year deal since he's older, trade for Justin Fields. Justin Fields is only 25 years old.
Yeah.
Have him sit behind Kirk. You know what I mean? Have him kind of get that mentorship that he didn't get in Chicago.
Yeah. And just kind of treat it like an older rookie type.
I feel like when you go back and watch Justin Fields in that Clemson game, Ohio State versus Clemson, he outdueled Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, he's shown a lot of glimpses. I think that when he came into the league, they didn't really give him the team around him and or the coaching staff. And you see that they're kind of like they fired a lot of their coaching. They're actually making moves like last year in the draft, traded back and got a big haul. I think this year they're going to probably keep the first pick and draft Caleb. But if you say you do trade him for a second and third, second and fourth, second and 2 fifths, whatever that comp is, that's a reload again. I mean, I think it's just kind of like they're kind of showing that they are going to try to.
They did just
do right by Caleb what they didn't do for Justin.
Yeah,
that's why I think Justin wants to be traded as soon as possible, just because he wants to get.
He really should.
And he deserves.
In all
that.
fairness to both sides of this.
And they said they want to try to do that for him to accommodate for him. Like they understand he wants to get used to the offense or start learning.
Like I've said it, it's not Justin's fault. His career has failed thus far.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Because he the last I think everybody's seen it. His last 20 games compared to Lamar's very similar, like numbers wise.
I mean, he didn't have a number one receiver for the first 2 to 3 years. His offensive line was horrible. Who's his offensive coordinator? He had 2 or 3 of them.
yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't even matter.
He needs some consistency.
100%.
Sure.
He needs that mentorship. Really, a lot of quarterbacks too. And I think that's also going to hurt Caleb if he goes to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that they are on the right track though, as far as the organization.
Who'd
they got a better OC this year though.
Shane Waldron, right?
Yes, he's a
Seahawks. He's where he came from.
Yeah, I feel like he can really help. Even if they decided to keep Justin, I feel like he could help Justin too. But for me, I think the best thing for Justin would just be to sit for a year or two behind a guy like Kirk Cousins, just so you can get those, that leadership, not come in day one starting. I'm always in favor of a quarterback sitting a year or two. Like I just said before we started the podcast, I wish Andy Dalton stayed another year. Like the Bengals kept him. Let Burrow sit. I get it. Burrow was an older prospect coming in. He was 24 and a half, almost 25 when we drafted him. So that part I do understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's situational, obviously, but now in the NFL, it's like you're starting when you get drafted. Like the days of sitting, it's done. Which, good and bad, you're thrown to the fire. But guys that probably wouldn't have been as bad. I mean, look at Jordan Love.
Man excelled this
year.
So
the argument's going to be now, like, but then you look at CJ Stroud. So it's like there's really a big argument there. I think it depends on the team, obviously, and if they have a quality guy who could start over them.
And you look at like the CJ Stroud and the Texans. So they fired their coach. They brought in a new coach, new quarterback. Bears, when they Eberflus wasn't the head coach when they drafted Fields.
Yeah.
And now they fired their head coach. Fields had to get a completely new regime, new system. And it's going to be the same thing for Caleb because I don't think they're going to keep Eberflus again if he has another
bad year.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been fired this year, but
because of the head coaching prospects that were this year.
Yeah.
Like you had Dan Quinn out there. You had Mike McDonald was a big one.
There was a lot of even just offensive minded like head coaches that I think could help a lot better for Caleb because we obviously all think he's going to be a Bear, but I don't know, like Matt Nagy. Who's the head coach? I keep thinking
Eberflus.
Why do I keep saying Matt Nagy?
He was the coach.
Yeah. I think Eberflus is a good head coach. Just for Caleb Williams, you got to bring in big offensive minded that can help him excel and stuff, so that you're not having to.
I thought they were going to take a shot at Bieniemy, honestly.
No, who's he with now? UCLA.
Yeah. I really did think that they were going to.
I don't know that guy has to interview horribly or something. Because I thought for sure after that,
it's like assistant head coach. It's not even like a.
Yeah.
or
But
something weird.
I understand why he didn't want to stay with Kansas City, and kind of just sit second fiddle behind Andy Reid for a while.
And then Washington.
But I
they
thought
brought
for
in
sure
whole new ownership, and then they wanted their.
Well, it's like me and
they brought in
Eric both kind of wanted Eric Bieniemy when the Bengals were hiring.
Yeah.
Just because he was a former Bengal, he was with the Chiefs. You know what I mean? It was a big thing for us, and then obviously we're
So now
more than
everybody's
happy
like,
with.
was it
Zach Taylor,
Mahomes?
yeah.
We're
Was
more than
Mahomes
happy
making
with.
Bieniemy look good, and Andy Reid, obviously.
But then he had Sam Howell looking good for the first half of the year,
Yeah,
and then it went downhill.
it wasn't the system though with Sam Howell. Sam Howell made a lot of big.
Yeah, but when
Big
when
mistakes.
you're the OC and like your claim to fame is like quarterback play and bringing them up, like that doesn't look good on you, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I saw that Sam Howell was getting some trade interest too, a little bit, which is crazy to me. I think he could be good. He's young too. I think he's 23 or 24.
Well, it's because they're probably drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
Vikings are also like heavy in the market, like Trey Lance. They're kind of looking in the Trey Lance situation. Like if
I saw
they
that. I
can't
think
get
Trey Lance
Kirk back or
deserves.
somebody.
He deserves a shot. I mean,
Yeah, he was drafted to a team where the ownership wanted him and the coaches didn't.
and then he gets hurt.
Like I think was it in their Super Bowl, one of the Super Bowl things for the 49ers was Kyle Shanahan talking like, oh, this undrafted guy or the last pick in the draft's looking really good after a couple of days of training camps. Like you didn't even give Trey Lance a
shot.
I mean, I get he got hurt. I understand that, but you give up all that draft capital and you give up on a dude like that.
That's the NFL, though. I mean, that's when I was talking about luck. I mean, he got hurt, and then a guy took his job and excelled. Like, Trey Lance is probably more talented than Brock Purdy, but when you go in and you win, and you're not really, like, making the bad plays.
Kind of happened to Alex Smith with Kaepernick, and then...
It's going to be tough to take that job back. And then when a guy wins over the building and the staff, it's like, yeah, I've lost my job. That's why Dallas was kind of a weird move for me. Like,
trading for him.
Yeah, like, that was kind of weird to me, too, because...
What they give up, a fourth pick? Fourth overall? Fourth round. Not fourth overall. My bad.
Fourth round pick.
I think he deserves a shot to get another starting, like at least battle for it. Because like Dallas, I mean in Dallas, he's not battling Dak for that starting job.
No.
Like he needs to go somewhere where he can actually compete for the starting job if he wants to play it again. I mean,
I feel like a team that with an injured quarterback, like starting off the season, probably should have traded for him, aka the Cardinals. I feel like he could have done something. I get it; it's in the division.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling that low on him, might as well.
Because they probably would have gave up a fourth round pick for him.
For sure. I mean, Kyler was out for the year, or not out for the year, but
I mean, he wouldn't have been worse than what Josh Dobbs did for him.
No, not at all. Josh Dobbs obviously exceeded expectations, but I think Trey Lance really could have
at least
put something together.
Yeah, gave himself a shot this year. Because
now he has a lot more of a higher ceiling, I think, than Dobbs would have.
I just don't, because now he really doesn't have any, like, really, I mean, he played, 3 games as a starter?
Lance?
Yeah.
Might have been less than that.
Yeah.
I think he got hurt week 2.
Was it week 2? I thought it was week 3. But, like.
It might have been 2.5 games.
So now he doesn't have any, I mean, really any game tape to show. And he's been in the league 3 years, so it's like, what are you going to do with him?
I'm trying to just think of the teams that could, like, trade for him besides like Minnesota if they don't end up getting Kirk. Or
I don't think Atlanta would. I think they want like a guy who's proven.
Yeah, but that defense, it's kind of like not win now, but
Denver maybe.
With Sean Payton, and then
I don't know.
I know that's why I was just trying to think through the teams, like sitting here thinking like who could really like QB battles, like who might have one. Maybe the Rams, like if the guy like if Stafford were to go down, I don't like. That's why I said like Zach Wilson. Like if the Rams like
Zach Wilson to the Rams makes a lot of sense. He's kind of comparable to Matthew Stafford talent wise,
and McVay.
Like guys that are going to help. Guys that will help. Like and kind of think of older QBs or guys that are kind of more injury prone, like more likely to get injured.
Yeah.
Trey Lance to the Falcons.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Falcons are wanting a more proven guy.
Yeah,
because they have the team around it. Like,
that's why I'm 100% in favor of the Falcons getting Kirk. I like the Falcons. They're a good NFC team. They're an NFC team, so I can root for them. I like them. I like their.
I wanted them to win the division. Actually, I was kind of.
I love Bijan Robinson. I like Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his play style, but get him a better quarterback. I feel like he could be really good.
Root for Bates in that defense.
And what really sucked for like me and Eric being like UC fans, we were really rooting for Desmond Ridder, but holy shit, was he just bad?
He's so bad. It's it's horrible to watch him play.
They gave him shots too. I mean,
Yeah,
He had games where he looked
multiple.
good, and then it would be like the next week I would start him in fantasy, and
That's how it was with Sam Howell because Burrow got hurt. So I'm like, oh, my backup quarterback, Sam Howell. So
and he'd have a great week when he had Burrow playing.
yeah, when Burrow was playing, like,
And Burrow would like have a crap
what was
game
it? The
early in
Rams
season,
week.
like week 3, I think.
The Rams week, Burrow did okay, but
Because he was
Sam Howell went off that week.
Yep.
I'm like, of course. And I start Sam Howell the next week, 4 picks.
Yeah.
That's just how fantasy football was for me this past year. And then I went on like a 6-game run towards the end. But I'll be back next year. If you're in my fantasy league, get ready.
what's going on in Buffalo, man?
Everyone, it's what is it?
They got to get that cap space.
I don't know what they're thinking with the contract with Von Miller.
I'm just talking like they're
Just cut them.
their whole defense.
Yeah, their defense was getting torched by like good offense, like us and the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
but now
Like,
it's like who's gonna start? I mean, you're gonna
And at this point, you really have to start questioning their ownership and coaching staff because how was DeMar Hamlin still on that team?
yeah,
It's a good story.
that's a good story.
I get it. I respect DeMar. I really do, but he cannot play football that well.
No, and now right
He
now,
can't-
obviously we have a
Even
whole
I've
offseason,
seen
but
numerous Bills fans on Twitter like, why is he in the game? He misses tackles. He doesn't read the field that well. I get it.
I don't know. I feel
But-
like
cutting a lot of the vets too, like
Yeah, that's what I
Trey
was-
White, Poyer.
Tre'Davious White's the biggest shock to me
Yeah, I don't
today.
know why they do that.
I mean, I get it because of the injury history, but again, like that's a veteran guy in that room. And when even when he is healthy and he might get hurt, he still performs like a top 5, top 7 corner.
absolutely.
That's just like the Seahawks cut Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs.
I understand Jamal Adams just
Yeah.
because he doesn't even perform when he is healthy.
Was Buffalo in the negative? A cap
Yeah.
space?
Yeah,
wise?
they're still in the
Are they-
negative.
Are they still in the
They're
negative?
still, I think,
That's-
20 mil
Yeah,
over the
mean,
cap.
So I guess I see where they're coming from, but it's like you're gonna be a whole different football team next year.
Yeah,
Josh Allen was already playing Superman, like,
yeah.
especially with their defense struggling as much as they did.
and they're not gonna be able to bring guys in. So it's gonna be like really heavily on the draft.
Oh, they'll figure it out. It's the NFL. They'll figure
Yeah,
out.
that's
They,
right.
how-
they did.
space
They
ain't
did
real.
trade for a pick
Huh?
from the Bears.
Cap space ain't real.
No,
They did trade for a pick from the Bears and traded like some lineman for like a 4th or 5th round pick.
I think one of the funniest things I've seen is a video of like Caleb Presley interviewing Josh Allen. He's like, if you had to cut any lineman, who would it be?
Yeah.
He's like Ryan Bates,
Oh, Mitch Morris.
and then they cut Ryan Bates. But obviously, I think that's obviously a joke with Josh Allen. I think he's probably good friends with Ryan Bates. But yeah, Mitch Morris was a shock. I heard their left or right guards moving over to center, and then their backup's going to start left guard or right guard.
Yeah, just a lot of like questionable moves, like out of a team that
Is right there.
or was. I mean,
they're
you
still
can't
they're
say.
still right
yeah,
there,
you
though.
got to see
I
what they
mean,
do.
If it wasn't for
Big.
Deion Dawkins messing up Josh Allen's throwing motion to the end zone, they probably have it. But
I mean, if Diggs catches that 70-yard bomb from
that's
Allen,
that's probably the biggest play of the game right there.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful ball.
I mean, one of the best throws I've ever seen.
So I was watching that game and I'm like, dude, that ball's going so far.
I mean, it just kept going.
It did. Like it was
went
up
It
there.
went right through his hands, man. Like, oh
And I replayed it a couple of times. I'm like, did he slow down? What
no, it just
was the ball overthrown,
it
underthrown?
was
Like
it
what?
was dot.
Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect ball from Allen.
That's just the Bills' luck, though. I mean, I mean, I do feel bad for their fans because like they have.
I've said that numerous times.
They
I
have-
feel really bad for their
they have
fans.
great teams. Like
4 straight Super Bowl losses, that's bad luck.
Yeah,
That's
it
not,
is.
that's not having bad teams. That's not even like
did you watch that documentary? You should watch it. I think it's on Netflix. It's really good. Like Jim Kelly's in it a lot. Like he's kind of like not the narrator, but he's pretty much like talking the whole time, and it goes through like all 4 of their Super Bowl losses and how like after the first one, it's like okay, we let it slip through, and they go back and they lose that one, but they they had a better year, and then it just like keeps getting progressively like it's in their heads. Like
Mhm.
4 straight Super Bowls is insane. Like it's never
Yeah.
gonna happen again. Like
and I think that stigma is still in Buffalo too.
yeah,
Not with the team, for obviously not with the team because there's not a single person in that building from that
yeah.
Super Bowl, the Super Bowls. But I think as a fan base, you're like, what?
Yeah, and they lost the first one on a missed field goal. Like
That's great. Like the Bengals Super Bowls against the 49ers. I mean, game-winning touchdown passes. Second Super Bowl was Jake Taylor. First Super Bowl was Jerry Rice. So I think it was Jake Taylor.
Tough times. I
think it was Taylor. So last thing it was Taylor, I think.
it's just like one of those things.
Yeah, is Jake Taylor the catcher from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Jake Taylor. Yeah, hold up. Let me find out who this
Fact
49er
check-
receiver was.
Fact check that real quick.
I know Jake Taylor. That's definitely the catcher from
Major League.
Major League. 49ers wide receiver.
While he's doing that, where do you guys think Russ would be a
1988.
good fit at? I put like Patriots on here
I mean, personally,
because they're
I
thinking
think-
about trading back in the
I think
draft.
Pittsburgh. I think he would fit great with the Steelers, but
Steelers, Patriots, maybe Minnesota if they can't find somebody.
Yeah, I would just say as like a betting favorite, probably Pittsburgh.
I'm kind of thinking more like CBS, something like that. I think he needs to just hang it up and.
Dude, he didn't even look bad this year.
Like
He
his
really
stats are
didn't,
actually
but
pretty
I mean,
good.
I just
And then Sean Payton will put all the blame on him every time.
It's like, dude, what are you talking about? How
like
about,
Sean
how about
Payton.
you don't give up 70 points?
Learn to take
I
the
feel
blame.
like his time in Denver just might have hurt him. People are going to look at him and be like,
I don't know, especially if he's wanting to come in with a vet minimum. Like that's very
well, if he does
appealing.
that, then I think every team's going to be open.
Yeah,
to
it's
getting
very
him.
appealing. Like even as a backup, I mean, but I think Russ wants to be the starter, obviously. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of quality quarterback free agents, and it's a really deep draft for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to. I mean, it's gonna be tough. It's like, especially teams in like the top 10. It's like, do we want to take a shot at Russ and still draft, or do we just want to draft?
That's
and roll
where,
with the
because
rookie?
with the rumors coming out that the Patriots are thinking about trading back their third pick, it's like maybe they take a shot on like one of the vets, like Russ, and then just build up around not around him, but around him for a year or two.
Yeah, because I think Baker goes back to Tampa.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. Because I mean, they brought back Mike, and I think Mike likes Baker.
Shout out to
I
Mike.
hope so.
Yeah,
I
shout out.
like
I
Baker.
love rooting for Baker in Tampa.
Someone asked, can we put this on Spotify? We're on StreamYard live streaming. I still need to figure out how to put it. We were on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I just need to figure out how to get it from StreamYard to there. I'm not too 100% on how to do it yet.
If anybody can help us out, DM
Yeah.
us on
Yeah,
Twitter.
shoot us a DM. We're kind of still figuring out how to like put it on every platform.
Yeah, trust. It was easier when we weren't going live, obviously, because we were just recording on my phone and push the audio onto my iPad, and we just upload the audio, and it was like that.
Yeah.
But this, we're live streaming, and everything's different right now, so I don't know how to. I'm still trying to learn.
And if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you guys go over to the YouTube and subscribe. Cincy Stripes, we're on our way to 100 subscribers. We're at 74 right now. Like you said, we just started going live like 2-3 weeks ago. We're kind of new and adjusting each week to stuff new. Like this is the first time seeing like the helmet, like hanging our helmets up and putting a jersey up. So, yeah,
kind of just rolling with the punches still, but a lot more concrete now. Like this is the look you guys will see pretty much every week from now on. We'll swap the jersey out every week, but the helmets are there to stay. The couch, the table, the mics, all that stuff's here. So kind of getting more of like a permanent look, our identity. So
Finally found it. It took me a while. John Taylor for the 49ers.
Jake
It
Taylor.
was, it's still Jay.
It was a J
Taylor.
name. You were close.
But, I watch Major League quite a bit. I love that movie. So Jake Taylor's just in my head.
yeah,
UC legend retired. Jason. Shout out to him.
It was a sad speech.
Mm-hmm.
Really gonna miss watching him play. He's
for
definitely
sure.
my favorite Kelsey. But
I mean, a guy who went out on his own terms though, played great. I mean, coming from, I guess he was a running back at UC at one point, and transitioned to lineman. One of the best centers of all time.
Just
Got his ring. Hats off to him for a great career. He was always fun to watch. He always made it fun. He was always like enthusiastic, and I think he will succeed in whatever he does. I think he's probably gonna go more to like new heights and like keep that growing big. I don't know. Does he say if he wants to do like broadcasting or anything? I think he'd be hilarious in the booth.
he would be hilarious. Yeah, he would. Please take over Tony Romo. But
and also like he told a story during the retirement speech that like 2016, 2017, like that one of those off seasons they were thinking about trading him or cutting him, and then for him to like bust his ass all off season and like come like showing them that he is a great starter and like was an all pro I think for six years. Like after that, like 6 years and really killed it and changed his way because can't picture Jason Kelsey in another jersey
No.
other than Philly.
Well, do we think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
I think he's for sure a Hall of
I
Famer.
think he's a lot.
Yeah, he's a lock.
I saw something they said with his stats and accolades and all that everyone that had like roughly the same all made it to the Hall of Fame but one. The one guy that didn't make it, he killed his wife. So he was never allowed in the Hall of Fame. They said you would never
I
get
would
in.
say that. Yeah, he's a lock.
Hey, off-field stuff doesn't count for the Hall of Fame.
I mean,
That's a good point, but he did.
They
kill his
say
wife.
that, but Terrell Owens
I was about to say that's why
had to
T.O.
go
didn't
4 or
get in.
5
Yeah.
ballots to get in.
That's why T.O. didn't get in first. I was like, yeah, okay. That's why he
Yeah,
didn't
okay,
even go. He didn't even,
Ocho Cinco. Like, come on, dude. If we're counting on field strictly, Hall of Famer for sure.
Change the game.
Yeah, if Ocho Cinco wasn't a Bengal, he would be in. Same as Ken Anderson. Like, dude, Harry Bradshaw's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's in.
Anderson's getting in.
You think
When
so?
he's dead.
He has to. I mean, at one point he was
Ken
considered.
Riley got in when he was dead.
I
It
mean,
waited way too long.
and he was what? He's like top 3. What is he?
Six.
Top
He's
6
sixth.
in picks.
He's tied for
career
6, is he
picks.
not?
I think he's tied
Like
for
so-
Doesn't
it.
matter. And they have him as like the 5th.
But I mean, they waited too long.
It's just that's why they're kind of started. Like, I'm glad they started like the Ring of Honor, like it's like that. The Bengals
Players who
Stadium and
deserve it,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it kind of gets their names more out there again and stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
I voted for Tim Kumrai. He's still yet to be up there.
He'll get there.
I
I
think-
think
I-
you definitely get there.
I was really surprised. I know we talked about it, but Willie, man, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, Willie should be a Hall of Famer for sure. He allowed 13 sacks in 16 years, or
That's insane.
flip flop those numbers, one of the two.
I mean, he was the best at his position for years. Like that's
In a dominant defensive era.
Yep.
Like you had the Ravens, like all those years. You know what I mean? Like that he performed in a purely like dominant era of football.
yeah. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't understand.
He wore
how-
stripes.
Yeah, I know, but even like there were some guys, especially this ballot, that got first ballots. It's like I don't know if you're gonna make some guys wait.
Quite a few. Let's look it up.
Like I don't know, and it's just only gonna get harder for him because like some of the talent that's recently retired is gonna be coming on ballots, and it's like,
Devin Hester, that's one of them that I
Yeah. I
don't
was like,
really
he could've
agree with
waited.
right
He could've
now.
waited. Like
yeah.
obviously,
I understand
he's like for
being,
sure Hall of
being the
Famer. I
GOAT
think.
returner, but like at the same
100% the
time,
greatest returner of all time. But
you're gonna make one of
but-
the best tackles wait
Patrick Willis, I'm on the fence about.
as a first ballot over Willie on his fourth. This is second finalist, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like, come on, man.
This is Patrick Willis' first year.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
So I mean,
Gates didn't even make it.
who?
Antonio Gates,
Antonio Gates was one of the most dominant tight ends for a while.
top 3 in like every category.
Dwight Freeney made it. I think Dwight Freeney was okay.
He's definitely a Hall of Famer. It's just the fact that
When they get in,
first
like,
ballot ever
When
got, yeah.
in their competition in that year,
is a big factor and should
yeah,
be taken into account. But
Yeah,
they like, I don't know. They don't
some of
like
the voting from NFL like awards too. It's like, what are you? Okay, like who gave these guys votes?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Let's go through like the NFL player, everybody that was
like in 2004, Dwight Freeney had 16 sacks.
Was that his career high in a season?
That's the NFL best in 2004. You think about it, Trey Hendrickson had 17 this year.
Yeah, and a half.
So,
and a half.
did he have and a
Yeah,
half?
Yeah,
17 and a half. So, I mean,
maybe he did. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he just had 17 because I think he fell short of TJ Watt by 2. And when TJ Watt got those 2 sacks before the Bengals played, I'm like, well, shit.
On this it says 18, so I don't know.
Did he have 18?
No, pretty sure it was 17 and a half because he got like a half sack with somebody in that final game because we all thought it was like his own, but
17 and a half. I guess
we all thought he got his own sack to make it 18. We were like, he only needs.
Oh,
like
did he? I
2
think he
more.
split with BJ Hill.
And he split one with somebody.
I think it was with BJ Hill.
Came out during the game on Twitter and everybody's like, give him the full sack. And then he got the half sack.
Andre Johnson, I can see making the Hall. I understand why he made it. Andre Johnson was kind of in that same realm as Ocho Cinco during that time, in that era also. I mean, they both dominate the league. They should both be in. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard being a Bengals fan when your players don't get in.
They don't get shown the love that
No.
they should.
Yeah, I compared Ken Anderson to Terry Bradshaw, like their stats.
Oh, it's probably very similar.
No. Terry Bradshaw's interceptions are way higher.
He has 210. Anderson had 160.
What are the touchdowns?
Anderson had 197. Bradshaw had 212.
Yeah, I mean Bradshaw got carried by defense.
What was Bradshaw's touchdowns to interception numbers though? For him.
It doesn't show that.
No, okay. How many touchdowns?
You just told us how many touchdowns and picks he threw.
Oh,
Just say that congruently.
he had 212 touchdowns to 210 picks.
That's the
My
argument
bad.
right there. He threw
Just as many picks as touchdowns.
yeah.
But I mean, Anderson had more yards. He had 32,000. Bradshaw had 27,000.
how many times Bradshaw won MVP?
Once. I mean, besides Super Bowls.
What were his stats in that Super Bowl in that MVP year?
Good question. And then what was Anderson's stats in his MVP
'Cause I
year?
guarantee he still had like a very close touchdown to interception ratio.
I get that, but Ken Anderson was one of the first true, just because of of his system he had. I mean, he was one of the first like true vertical passers. And Bradshaw played with the steel curtain.
That's what
So
I'm saying. His defense is like, I mean,
defenses were crazy then.
But if you go back to like Ken Anderson's time, he was always like a top 5 quarterback. I mean, he didn't get a Super Bowl, but
I like Terry Bradshaw. I think he's very hilarious. I
He
love him
is,
in the
yeah.
movie Failure to Launch.
and
I just watched that.
He's a winner. I mean, that,
Yeah.
4 Super Bowls.
But, at a certain point, when do you look at stats instead of Super Bowls?
when you're comparing guys who have very I would say similar stats, it's comparable. But when a guy has a lot better stats than you, I think rings are kind of it's a team sport.
Yeah. See, I'm starting to fade away from the whole quarterback touchdown or not quarterback Super Bowl thing just because of honestly Lamar. Right. I mean, if they were to win the Super Bowl this year, it would have been strictly the defense. Same as like in that 2000 Super Bowl with the Ravens. They had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. Yeah. I guarantee most of our followers on Twitter don't even know who Trent Dilfer is. He runs Elite 11. He was a guy.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't a Super Bowl.
I mean, Lamar. I mean, he's good and all, but he wouldn't have won him a Super Bowl. I mean, you had a chance to go to Super Bowl by, not putting up points. So, I don't know.
Kenny's MVP year, Bengals went 12-4. He had 3,754 yards, 29 touchdowns, 10 picks.
What year?
81.
So I mean, those numbers would be probably closer to 4,500 like now.
Yeah, comparable. Yeah, 29-10. I mean,
it's pretty solid. 81
today. I mean, 29-10. That would be like
probably closer to 40 and
probably closer to 40 and 8,
15. Or
I would say he probably threw more picks.
Yeah.
Picks are have gone up.
That's what I mean,
quite a bit.
You throw the ball a lot more.
You look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre, I think, has more.
If you look at Brett Favre's year-to-year stats, some of his are wild.
Yeah, he's the interception leader in the NFL, and he's a Hall of Famer in my eyes.
He's a gunslinger. I mean,
yeah.
The definition of it.
Well, I mean, he said it. He didn't know what a cover 2 defense was coming to the NFL. I think he was the fourth pick by the Falcons. Also, he was a top 5 pick by the Falcons.
Yeah, he was definitely like a guy who just.
He didn't know what a cover 2 defense was.
I'm
a scrub on the couch. I know what a cover 2 defense is. Then again, I guess it's
You can't throw the ball 70 yards though.
68. I could realistically probably throw the ball 40 on a really good day if I stretch.
I pulled up Terry Bradshaw's MVP numbers. Can you go over Ken Anderson's again?
So in 81, he threw for 3,754 yards.
Bradshaw had 2,915.
2,000?
He had 29 touchdowns.
28.
And 10 picks.
20 picks.
20 picks.
20
picks.
MVP. Bro, come on.
And 1 MVP.
What year did he win?
78.
So that's the same era.
Close.
78.
Yeah.
Bengals went 4-8. He had 2,219 yards, 10 touchdowns, and
how many games they played?
22
in 78?
picks in that year.
Probably 14.
16.
Oh, 16.
No. Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
It's 20 picks in an MVP year?
That's wild.
You love throwing picks. He had in 80, he had 22, 25 and 79, 20 and 78.
Just run the ball.
And then in
They had Franco Harris. Was Franco? Well,
Yeah, they had Franco.
was he a running back? Yeah.
Yeah.
and then in like his rookie year, he had 24 interceptions
The most
and
the
22.
most he ever threw picks wise was 22, and after that it was 14.
Who?
Ken.
Brescher's got a lot of 20s up there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You look at Favre's numbers.
What was Anderson's lowest year? What was Bradshaw's lowest year?
You saying like pick wise?
Well, like how many
See
games are you going to do? Like
yeah, that's what I was trying to look at.
like a full 16?
Lowest is probably
I mean,
like
9?
Yeah,
7
like,
with
full
13
season.
games. Full season. He only played one full season. And that was in '81 when he won MVP.
Ken Anderson
Well,
only played one full
I mean,
season.
If they were 6, well, they might have been 14 games before. If it was 14 games before in like the 70s, I don't know how many games they played.
I think all those are 14.
Oh, then he 12, 10, 11, 14, 11, 7, and
So he was right at like 10, 11 picks a year.
between 10 and like 13 each year. I don't know.
I don't know. The MVP is probably the most wasted trophy there is because the MVP this year
Just
didn't
the
even get it.
It's just the quarterback,
quarterback award,
and then the
yeah.
the offense player of the year is the
But
running
Lamar
back.
wasn't even the best quarterback.
No, Baker's stats were better.
Best quarterback on the best
Best
team.
team, yeah.
I would have. Who did I say? What I would rather have? Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey,
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
I really thought McCaffrey.
Dak Prescott. That was my guy.
Yeah, Dak,
that was my
yeah,
number
Dak was
two.
up there, yeah.
Was Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had an amazing regular season.
He did.
I mean, I think Dak Prescott had 4,500 yards, close to 4,500, close to 50 touchdowns. Would Lamar have 3,100, 24 touchdowns?
I mean, yeah, it's not
I'm
even.
going to go ahead and look it up. 'Cause
Yeah, might as well.
let's see. He had 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Just
That's the MVP. That's the MVP.
yeah, it's just wild.
Give me Dak Prescott
Yeah,
stats right now.
I know Moochie's.
I need it.
He's like the Ravens fans on Twitter.
yeah. They just dog us.
I need Dak Prescott's numbers pronto.
Look up
I got
Josh's,
him.
bro. Josh had a great year too.
Josh's thing was turnovers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He was like second behind Howell, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In picks.
He's like 16 or
Let's
something like
see.
Howell had like 18 or 19, and Purdy.
that. 20.
Sam Howell, man, he looked so good like first couple
He
games.
looked really good. I think did he look in passing yards?
Dak Prescott had 4,500 yards, 36 picks.
36
You mean
times.
tutties? 36 picks.
And like 8
He's
picks,
on that Terry Bradshaw type.
9 picks.
9 picks,
Yeah,
Bro.
105.9 passer rating.
That's
Dang.
solid, man.
Bro.
That's-
Not
Not
passer
much-
rating, just a
Dak's
rating.
like, bro,
Not much
what-
more you could
yeah,
do.
that's what I was about to say. Dak's like, bro, what else do I have to do?
69.5
Besides,
completion
like-
percentage.
What seed were they? They were wild card. No,
Cam Newton won the
Eagles were
MVP
wild
with
card.
throwing
They
like
won the division.
62.
They were the 2 seed.
Yeah, and they won the division because Eagles ended up winning the wild card and lost in Tampa. So it's like they were like 2 or 3 seed. Man,
What else do you want them to do?
yeah, because they like Philly was like the heavy favorite all year, and then Dallas comes in and still wins.
4,500 yards beats out Lamar's passing and rushing yards.
Yep.
Because I don't even think Lamar rushed for 1,000 this year.
It was like 7 or.
I think it was close to 800 or it was in the 800s.
That's good for a quarterback still, but
Man,
I don't know.
What are you supposed to do?
who knows?
I don't know who it's voted on either. I don't know who votes on this stuff.
It's like a bunch of
The
like,
media.
guys.
Yeah,
Well, have them stop.
have them stop. Like
He almost was unanimous again.
Yeah, Josh Allen's the only one who received
the
one
a vote.
Yeah,
Where's Dak Prescott's vote? Where's
CMC.
CMC? Offensive Player of the Year, CMC.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
I-
always understand how like if an offensive guy wins MVP, how they weren't offensive player of the year too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I don't
That's how it used to be because he won Offense Player of the Year when he won.
well, a lot of guys have done that. I think Manning did it too. Won both.
So it used to be that way. They just went away from it because they probably wanted to
What
get
year was the MVP trophy split? Wasn't it with was it Rookie of the Year?
I think it was-
Adrian Peterson and someone else?
I don't know. I don't know. AP has an MVP though. 2012.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry should have won an MVP.
I was watching this TikTok edit of Chris Johnson, CJ2K,
2K.
and I'm watching. I'm like, holy shit, dude! I was
So
maybe
fast.
8 or 9 when he was dominating the league. I'm like, if I watched him today, he's the GOAT.
Dude, those Titans teams were good too.
Dude, watching him just break through tag, he was physical too for his size. His speed, his size is crazy. If you put him,
you knew they were handing the ball off.
if you that's the thing, they were talking about it. They're like, you could put 8 or 9 in the box and he's
matter.
still getting 10. But rushing for 2,000 yards is crazy to me also.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry did it. He didn't get MVP.
No, I don't know.
Chris
The running back
Did
game
Chris
is
Johnson
different.
win MVP?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Adrian Peterson won MVP. I want to say like majority because when Barry Sanders rushed for 2K, he won MVP.
Pretty sure Eric Dickerson has won.
It's like if you rush for 2K, it's like
So like a couple running backs, but
wow. I don't know. You guys want to go over the mocks?
yeah.
The little mock drafts we made.
Yeah, just to kind of.
None of these simulators make any sense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, some of them. Like, I mean, we just want to go like our first round pick and then go. Down.
Okay, CJ2K never won an MVP.
Okay.
But he was player of the year in 2009. Hal was the only offensive player of the year one time. I don't know. First team All Pro in 2009. Understandable. 3-time Pro Bowler, rushing leader in 2009. Our rookie team in 2008. Shit, he had 2,500 yards his sophomore year.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Eric Dickerson had 2105 his sophomore year. He got second in MVP twice. That's why I thought he won it.
He didn't win it.
He got twice. He got second twice.
I need Adrian Peterson's 2012.
It's crazy.
Adrian Peterson right here.
He was like 8 yards away from the record or something like that.
Adrian Peterson had 500 less yards than Chris Johnson.
Total yards or just rushing? Because I thought Adrian Peterson was like really close to the record.
Oh no, it's 2,500 scrimmage yards
Yeah,
he had.
Because he was really close to the record, but ran out of bounds so they could kick that field goal.
What a team player. Didn't they lose in the playoffs that year, first round?
Yeah, I think so.
Viking way.
So we only did like the first 4
How many
rounds
touchdowns did he have that
because
year?
outside of that,
Yeah,
we don't really know who they were going to take.
He only had 12 touchdowns.
pretty solid though.
Yeah, in my first round, I got an offer to trade back and got lots of. I don't remember who it was with, but I got to trade back to 25, and I got for more picks in these rounds. So I got Tyler Guyton in mine first
pick.
First overall at 25.
I got you. So my first round pick, I didn't make a trade until the second round, but I went with Jared Verse, Florida State. He was, I mean, the only really, I would say, starting tackle that was left that would start right away probably was Mims. His injury history scares me a little bit.
I think it scares a lot of the Bengals community now after.
So I would say like this is in the hopes that we would bring a starting tackle in for free agency. So I went with Jared Verse. I think he's a stud. I think he'd be a great guy across from Trey Hendrickson.
I took Talisuaga.
So yeah,
I like
solid.
Tawaga
Pretty
a
solid,
lot.
yeah.
No words needed for that guy. He's
Yeah, just nothing.
I'm sorry I wasn't listening to you guys. No, I was going through the different mock drafts I have saved on here, and I'm like, that's not 4 rounds. That's not 4 rounds. I'm like, where is it at? Is the last one I clicked on. I took J.C. Latham because I traded back with the Rams from 18 to 19.
They offer a lot in that one. I'm like,
Yeah, I ended up going the NFL mock draft database website route. I didn't do Pro Football Network. Every time I drafted, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I skipped that one.
All right, so for my second round, I don't remember what number it goes to, so I might have 2 second-round picks, or is 80? 80 is probably third round. But I got Johnny Newton at 49, which I obviously don't think he'd fall that far. But in this one, you can't pass on him if you fell that far to 49. So I took Johnny Newton.
Yeah, I traded back from 49. They gave me the 57th and the 89th. Somehow Johnny Newton in this one was there at 57. I would bet money that he would not be there at 57, but I couldn't pass up on him there.
For sure.
I took Trondre Sweat, second pick. gonna say about him.
Yeah,
I think he's
I could see a lot of teams like maybe not reaching on him in the first round, but I could see him going a lot higher than what he does in these mocks.
And my second round pick at pick 49, I had John Newton available. I had Devondre Sweat available. I had Jatavion Sanders available. I took Braden Fisk.
I like Braden Fisk a lot.
I took Braden. We're going post combine. He really impressed me.
He looked good.
He ran a lot faster than Patrick Mahomes. So
they're like, stop showing. He's like, stop showing my 40 time. But in the third round, I think I have 2 picks because from the trades, I took Ben Sinnott at tight end and then Braylon Allen at running back from Wisconsin. Who I like both of those picks. I think this draft in general, I tweeted this out on our account, I think would be slam dunk draft. Obviously, I think a lot of these guys will go higher than what they are. Like Ben Sinnott, I think is going to go higher. But hey, if he falls to us, I like Ben Sinnott a lot.
Yeah, we had a very similar draft, and we weren't even looking. But so at 80, I took Braylon Allen. Didn't run the 40, but dude is young, he's strong. He had a great career at Wisconsin. I think he would be a guy who, after his rookie deal, he'll still be under 25, which is crazy. If he comes in and produces like he did at Wisconsin, especially with the Mixon kind of news coming in there, maybe if it's true, maybe it's not. I think you can't pass up on him at 80. And then since I traded back in the second, I had the 89th pick too. I took Cade Stover. I think we do need to address tight end, and I think he would be a pretty good impact player.
We already talked about this guy. I took Blake Corum. I think he'd be a really good Mixon replacement.
Man performed well in that bench press.
He looks solid, dude. Like he looks.
A lot of Michigan fans were there at the combine.
So with my trade with the Rams, I was able to get the 52nd overall pick, and then I also had the 80th. So with the 52nd, I took Trey Benson. He really impressed me.
He had a good combine too.
I loved watching Florida State this year. I loved watching Jordan Travis before he unfortunately got injured, but I was impressed with Trey Benson the whole year. And then with the 80th pick, I took Chris Abrams-Drain.
Yeah.
Really good, solid corner. Really good young piece for us that would add depth to that room.
So I had 91 and 117, I think, from the trades. And at 91, I took the Bengals love their cornerbacks the D-backs from Michigan. I took Mike Sainristil. And then at 117, I got Johnny Wilson from Florida State, kind of a bigger receiver. If T were to walk, which he probably, because I think he's gonna play on the tag, hopefully. If not, trade him and get picks in the draft because this is a deep, like first 4 rounds at least. Probably later. I just don't know as much of the names later. But Johnny Wilson, I think, would be a great receiver for us.
So with my last pick, I was kind of debating between a couple guys, but ended up going with the corner, Kyrie Jackson, 6'3".
Oregon, yeah. I love him.
Played at Bama first too. Transfer.
I love Kyrie Jackson.
I didn't realize. I just looked it up. I knew he was kind of taller, but I didn't realize he was 6'3". He's a 200 pounds too.
Sauce. He's built like Sauce Gardner.
So I think he would be. I don't know if he would
lengthy
start right
arms.
I don't know if he would start right away. Just because obviously I don't know how we're going to be running the defense with maybe moving Dax to nickel and this and that. So, but he would be a guy who would rotate in very quickly, I think. And he would see playing time by week 3, I would say, probably even earlier than that.
With my last pick, I took Theo Johnson, tight end from Penn State.
I love Theo Johnson too.
Yeah, very athletic guy. Out of all of the tight ends there, he was like the third, like best with athleticism stuff. Yeah, I think he'd be pretty good. I think 6'6". It's a big guy.
It's a big guy, yeah.
Find him over the middle.
My last pick, I took the tight end from Kansas State, Ben Sinnott. I think we're all big fans of Ben Sinnott. So
yeah,
I couldn't draft him in mine. So
yeah, he
was lucky to fall to me. So I took him.
That's why I say he fell that late. That's kind of nice.
I was kind of debating on taking him at 80, but I'm like,
that's a little bit that's probably a little early,
right? Like I didn't want to take him at 80, but
I mean,
I got lucky at 116, so. For sure, take it.
Honestly, I mean, I think the Bengals, they can mess up this draft, but there's just so many talented guys that it's going to be hard to mess this draft up.
For sure.
100%, especially if we utilize free agency the way we should. It's going to be a really good year for us. I'm confident. But let's just wrap up the show here. We're hitting an hour. It's getting kind of late. People got work tomorrow, including us. I think we had a really fun one. Got a couple comments, was really appreciated. Keep commenting, keep sharing.
Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube.
100% subscriber. We're going to be doing a giveaway at 100 subscribers. We'll put more stuff up on the walls, more fan gear and stuff like that. So we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
See ya.
Yeah, see it.